Hey guys, welcome to Pillbox Movies. I'm Hank, and today we're going to be watching the 1965 film, The Collector. This film was directed by William Wyler, in my opinion, one of the most expansive directors of the 20th century, encompassing all types of genres, of film scales, of budgets. His films encompass a whole scope of types, and they're all of your classic film bays. Some of his earlier works include Ben-Hur, Mrs. Miniver, which he won an Oscar for Best Picture. Actually, I don't know if the directors get the Best Picture award. I think the producers get the Best Picture award, but you know what I mean. And he also directed Roman Holiday, which is honestly one of my favorite romantic films of all time. Like, if you ask me what my two favorite romance films are, it's Roman Holiday, the debut film of an actress you may know by the name of Audrey Hepburn, and also starring Gregory Peck, and Hellraiser. Hellraiser, I think, is actually a deeply romantic film. I really don't see it as much of a horror movie so much as two people negotiating through violence the degree to which they accept each other's kinks. I'm excited to watch this movie. I've known about The Collector for 10, 20 years or so. I knew it first as the book by John Fowles, and I've always meant to read it, but I had just never got around to it. Yeah, that's about it. Let's watch The Collector. Columbia Pictures. From the minds that were so loud. Oh, I didn't adjust the volume. Terence Stamp is truly one of the most singularly gifted actors of the British, I don't know what they call them, the brat generation. And yeah, Terence Stamp. It's a shame that modern audiences don't know him as well, because the only recent big production, big budget movie he was Superman in 1978. But he was really well regarded in this generation and sought after by a number of kind of auteur directors. He was in Teorema, the Pier Paolo Pasolini film. I think he's in Red Desert. It's either him or Richard Harris. Very chipper music. Apparently the composer for this film is our boy, Maurice Jarre, the composer of Lawrence of Arabia. And even if I don't know any other movies that he's composed for, by virtue of the fact that he composed Lawrence of Arabia, genuinely one of the greatest film scores ever composed, we must stan. I'm guessing he probably did Dr. Zhivago too. That makes sense. Is he looking for a pit? Oh no, he's looking for somewhere where he can lock up his potential victims. It seems roomy enough. Interesting sound design. That's definitely wasn't created in shot. But they've decided to make this this enclave seem more cavernous than it is. Yeah, I wouldn't like to get locked up in there, to be honest. TBH. I wouldn't say that Terence Stamp is a pretty man, by any account. He's no Peter O'Toole, but he does have very severe features that makes for interesting villains. Yes. Oh, you could see the fascination in his eyes. This will make for great sport. That just slight smile. But I love the kind of sense he's giving, that this is more of a hunger or obsession than kind of than a playtime for him, than good sport or folly. And we got Samantha Eggers here. I don't really know much about her, but I don't know, given William Wyler's eye for talent, I'm sure she'll be good. I mean, this is the man who introduced the film-going world, to both Audrey Hepburn and Barbra Streisand. He knows talent. He knows female talent. He's like a male, Deborah Granick, the director of Winter's Bone and Leave No Trace. Cool reflective shot turning into a direct. Cool sirens of a cop car. It is interesting watching this, having seen Spoorloos, The Vanishing, because it's playing out the same scenario as Vanishing to a certain degree. But man, you gotta see Vanishing. It's like so specific and so like kind of prescriptive in the way it details the killer's process for finding a victim. Oh man. It is truly a great film about the mundanity of evil. And I want to say, I don't know how people felt in the 60s, but this was clearly a kidnapping story written by a man, because how these red flags aren't raised by a woman, seeing the same person same guy tracking them throughout the city. I don't buy it. He kept the chloroform on her this entire time? Is she not dead? Did she not die from that? That seems like a huge amount of chloroform to inhale. Ooh, I really like that. That's like something that maybe Wyler came up with that, but that's a sort of like acting decision that's made on the spot on the day that it's really powerful and creepy, just pulling that hair out of her mouth. I like that we're starting from that. This is like an important aspect in like ramping up the tension of these kind of thriller movies, is having the killer start with conservative values. It's such a facade and so representative of their actual mindset that they think of themselves as prudes or respecting the girl's privacy, when obviously the greatest breach of their autonomy is kidnapping them with plans to sexually assault and murder them. Ooh, I like that shot. That's cool. Ooh, and he's got to cool off now because it's been such a adrenaline high for him. Such an adrenaline spike. Ooh, Terence Stamp, you are amazing. Good shit, good shit. I'm happy about this. Okay, I'm actually, for as intrusive as the soundtrack is, I'm actually really enjoying it a lot more now. It's very tongue-in-cheek, and it's kind of presenting, it's making psychological suggestions that are more from his perspective and inside his mind. So we just watched this gruesome kidnapping and enslavement, but the music is light and chipper, expressing his delight. The Dies Irae! We're getting full Shining vibes now. Dude, when her dungeon is bigger than your apartment. Ooh, I like that shot. That's cool. That's like the peeping Tom shot of seeing your reflection in the camera lens before you're murdered. Peeping Tom is like one of the great serial killer movies with one of the worst serial killing weapons ever. If you ever watch Peeping Tom, I believe from what I remember, it's a camera that has a secret blade in it, which is just like stupid. And I like how they're only shooting from his waist down. Even though we've already seen his character, they're introducing him in the way that Miranda is seeing him for the first time.
I brought you some cereal. You have to tell me what you like.
And I like that he's changed his persona. That's cool. I'm liking these details. He's making himself into like this like really posh, like upper class character. That's his like kidnapper persona, despite the fact that we've seen him as like a kind of desk clerk jobber previous to this.
You're Miranda Gray.
I'm Miranda Priestley.
Dr. James Gray of Reading.
Is that how that's pronounced? I didn't know Reading was spelled reading.
More than you think.
Since you know my father isn't a rich man, it isn't for ransom, as you say.
Yeah, once again, the female character written by a man, obviously.
It's not that at all. I shall have all the proper respect.
It's for sex. He's playing out a scenario right now of being prim and proper. He wants the sex, and then he wants the murder.
Guest. I don't want to be your guest. Let me go.
Yeah, he's into this. Eek.
I love you.
I would like to see... Daniel Radcliffe play Terence Stamp kind of roles. Conversely, if we had a time machine, I would like to see a young Terence Stamp play Harry Potter.
I was going to let it come natural on both sides. I touched you just then.
These are all lies. These are all such big lies, and a woman would recognize this.
See,
not from intuition or whatever, but from like thousands upon thousands of years of collective experience with men to know that they are dangerous. A man, you can guess based on a man's actions of kidnapping you and locking you in his lair that he probably doesn't love you despite his protestations otherwise.
From the first time I saw you,
oh boy,
I knew you were the only one.
We're not going to pretend like we believe this for another 40 to 60 minutes.
I don't understand.
This is a lie from the outright.
I want you to get to know me.
Getting to know you. Getting to know.
Don't kidnap people so they'll get to know you. Don't you
True.
realize the trouble that you get into?
Girl, you're in trouble. He is going to murder you.
Well, it must be in the papers.
I haven't looked.
You could go to prison for years.
I am worried for you. You need to be smarter than this.
Worth it. Be worth going for life.
I don't want to see a girl getting broken down and brainwashed. I mean, I do, if that's what the narrative calls for it, but I don't want her to be so foolish going into it.
And all of England must be searching for me. Well, sooner or later they're going to find me.
I really like Terence Stamp's acting in this. He's very, very reserved. It's a very, like, constrictive, neurotic performance. But not it's not in an ostentatious way. He's not like, oh, I'm psycho. It's very, very simple and terse. I'm liking it a lot. It's giving me all of the bubblies. Yes, girl. And by girl, I mean Terence Stamp.
What happened? What's the matter?
It takes so little for a 60s movie to make me uncomfortable.
I told you this would happen. I told you to get sick. I told you should have eaten.
It's not that. It feels like my appendix. You must get me a doctor.
Girl's makeup is held up over 2 days.
Be the end for me.
We must find out what brand she buys. Okay, good. She had the shoes on because she knew she was going to run. What would I do in this scenario? What would be the best way to maximize the time that's afforded to you in this case? I have to give this movie a little leeway. Obviously, it was made in 1965 based on a book that was even earlier, but it has to go through the necessary steps of explaining the kind of like escalation of this kind of scenario to an audience that hopefully isn't well versed in it. Nowadays, we have all these true crime documentaries and horrible thrillers that show us all of this junk to the degree that we're kind of like we're oversaturated. We already know all the steps that killers take and that victims take, and the chess matches like played out a million times over in our heads. But for audiences in 1965, they probably weren't as well versed in these character dynamics.
Make a bargain. I'll tell you when you can go, but only on certain conditions.
I'll stay for 1 week and not a day more.
No.
Girl doesn't know how to barter. Where my Tommy?
Please be reasonable.
Like maybe in 1960,
Can't you see I made all these arrangements just so you'd stay for 1 week more?
a girl whinging like this might gain your sympathy, but
To get to know me.
to my present day eyes, I'm kind of like her doing all this kind of like fake outrage and complaining. Seems like a bad tactic.
4 weeks. A month. That'll be the 14th.
Don't you see that 4 months, 4 years won't get what you want?
Okay, this
How can
is
you be so sure?
not great negotiation tactics
Because
from
I
her.
know how I feel.
I mean, I know
May not
he's
feel
like
safe
lying
after 4
about
weeks.
the amount of time he'll keep her trapped here before releasing her, but from her point of view, why is she like disagreeing to something that's shortening her time here? So is that connected to an outlet? How is that heater working? Does it have fuel in it? How do people do things in the 60s?
4 weeks.
She's got a big old head. She's got a Terence Stamp size head.
Be afraid to come over? You know where we are, just half a
This
mile
can
down
be
the
a
road.
lesson in general. Just never trust
Is it? It's really at the house on the
a
left.
young man living alone in a large house.
Oh,
They've
by
got
the
some
way,
shit
we're
going
having
on.
over for drinks tomorrow night.
From Gatsby to Gatsby on down.
I don't know if I can
Never
make
trust a young man with a big house.
Oh.
Oh, I see we've got Vladimir Nabokov in here.
It's my hobby. I've been collecting all my life. I'm an entomologist.
How did you keep this collection before you bought this huge house?
And
You should
most of these come from Central America.
know
I
that you're
correspond with a
in
monk who
danger.
sends me larvae and then
Now.
I incubate them myself.
Girl, you are in danger.
See that?
This should not endear
A leaf butterfly.
This should not endear him to you. This should be setting off all of your alarms.
These are my chalk hills.
Do not trust fastidious dudes,
And
especially
These are
when
my
after they've
Bronx blues.
kidnapped you. It's a bad
I break
bad
that
look.
aberration myself.
Girl, get out. Girl,
It's sad.
you are gonna get hyper murdered by this
How many
dude.
butterflies have you killed?
You can see.
Now you've collected me, haven't you?
Oh, I see. Symbolism. I think perhaps she low lit the eyes a bit too much.
Would you consider selling it?
I hadn't. £200.
All right.
You'd give me £200 for this. But it's bad.
You know you're gonna die, right?
It's because it's of you.
Put it in a drawer with the butterflies.
It's funny because like their relationship is so unsustainable in this scenario, but like
I know.
Also,
why you're
like,
upset.
this is what real couples are like.
It's that letter to your mother, isn't it?
This is basically what some relationships are like. Just like endless,
I'm going to London
endless
this afternoon.
bargaining. And
I could post it then.
bargaining from a place of bad faith where
I bought these
kind of like
envelopes.
neither party genuinely wants to participate and like compromise with each other, so they just like engage in all these proxy wars of toxic desires of things they don't really want because they can't share their actual desires with each other.
I am safe and not in danger.
Okay, a bit repetitive, but whatever. Yep, because he's not going to check the envelope, obviously.
I like this one.
Yep, nothing to see here. Nothing suspicious about all that.
Just sign it.
I like appreciate her like spunkiness, but like her plan construction is so poor.
Kidnapped by madman. Gerald Franklin. Pool's winner. Prisoner in cellar. Old Tudor house near Reading. So far safe. Frightened.
It's a long ass note.
Frightened? What have I done?
You showed me your butterfly collection.
Think a madman would have gone to all this trouble?
It's a weird look.
I'll tell you what a madman would have done. He'd have killed you by now. I suppose you think I'm going for you with a carving knife or something.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
People like you just have to walk into a room.
I hate that he's turned this into a class struggle.
You understand things.
This is like...
For people like me.
This is like MGTOW boys, like, blaming this on, like, social constructions of women. The source of your depression is not class struggles or women. It's some funkiness happening in your psychology. It's a source of depression and desperation that would not be alleviated by sex. Yo, I'm gonna sick the coppers on you now that I'm getting out. I just hope this food doesn't have any chloroform in it.
The pictures. Well, you can have all of them.
I just can't help
today is the last
being
day.
a little bit upset by how dumb this girl is.
1 o'clock tonight. I read your book.
Oh?
It made me want to kill John Lennon.
Did you like it?
Well, I don't see much point in it, really.
Why not?
I don't believe it, for one thing. That boy. Going to a posh school and his parents having money. He's got no real problem, in my opinion.
Perhaps you're right.
So what right does he have to behave the way he does?
I hate that he's positioned himself as a class warrior.
You mean
What an
you never
asshole.
saw the fault in the book before? You told me you loved it.
Yes, I do, but that doesn't
You
mean...
wouldn't have agreed with anybody else so fast. You'd have argued, wouldn't you? You see, you won't really talk to me.
That's not true.
I mean, that's a fair point. He's watched you long enough that you really shouldn't keep maintaining this facade with him. He wishes to elicit, for better or worse, your natural reactions.
You tell me what you think is so marvelous about that book.
That time that
Well,
Holden
boy,
described a place
the
being
way
as cold
he
as a witch's
hates everything
teat.
that's false. I mean, you're not trying to see how much like all of us he is.
Oh, I hate that.
Like me. That's what you meant, isn't it?
I'm in this
No,
picture and I
fit
don't like
anywhere
it.
either.
No, I didn't mean that.
Then I'm too ignorant to understand
No,
him.
I didn't say that
I also
either.
genuinely
No.
just never recommend a piece of media to your friends or another person and being like, this is actually you. That's not a flattering thing ever. You could recommend The Once and Future King to somebody and be like, you should read this. Hint, hint, you're like Arthur. And they'd be like, this boy gets cucked like shit.
That's a good
This
painting.
is actually interesting. I didn't really see it as happening this way because
Yes, it's a Picasso.
I don't know. I just didn't think it would take this direction, but he is actually kind of like
Well, of course they don't.
breaking her down psychologically through fear and intimidation, and
He's trying to express a face as he
testing
sees
her
it
and programming her in a way
Because
to
he sees it
elicit
that way,
specific
that makes it
responses,
good.
like getting her to lie and recuse herself constantly. It's a psychological assault that he's waging on her, because I thought his purpose in having all these dialogues with her was to break her down in order to make her more sincere and have a more sincere conversation with her. But like an actual kidnapper and psychotic, he's breaking her down in order to control her. And so getting her to say these things that she doesn't believe, getting her to agree with him constantly, he's wearing down on her psychology with this kind of like vague threat of violence and this actual threat of violence by imprisoning her and playing this game for his pleasure where he sees her break down mentally. It's like he should run a BFA program or something. He should be a teacher in a grad program.
Not just to me, to anybody else.
What a surprise. The conservative has something against modernism.
Because some professor somewhere told you it did.
Those damn liberals. In my ideal world, he doesn't actually believe these things. These are tactics that he's employing to break her down. Because making this be like a class struggle from his perspective that he genuinely believes in, that's like kind of like transferring social values onto this movie that it doesn't necessarily possess. Yeah. Like if he actually like believes that he's like,
I was right to bring you here.
Good. This seems like it's a part of his plans.
We could never be friends outside.
This is a means of breaking her down and attacking her constantly.
We can!
That's more interesting to me. That's more interesting than him being a genuine like class warrior. This is like the grown-up version of that movie that Dead Meat just did, or Found Flicks just did. Was it Dead Meat or was it Found Flicks? But anyway, the Better Watch Out movie.
I bought you something for tonight.
It's a nightie. It's a slip. It's a hot, sexy prisoner slip. There's just like a fetish suit in there. There's a gimp suit. Is it actually a slip? Don't tell me it's white.
Last night,
Please don't tell me it's white.
I made some supper upstairs.
There's so many things she could hit him with in there. Ew, it's actually white. Oh, God.
The dress is lovely.
So Natalie Wood. Tonight, tonight, I'll see my love tonight.
That's all over.
You know, you don't have to drive me all the way home. Drop me off at a station.
A police
No, I don't
station.
think I can do
LOL.
I just thought it'd be safer for you.
No, I'll take you all the way home.
It's a weird game they're playing.
All right.
Like, she knows who he is. He's gonna kill her.
I suppose the first thing you'll do when you get back is see that chap.
No, she's gonna go to the police.
First thing I'm going to do is call my mother.
Yeah, that too. Oh. He likes her. He likes her so much that he
It'll be
put a
lonely
weird
here without
framed
you.
sketch on the mantelpiece with no other furnishings around it. Really, such 20-year-old bachelor home furnishings.
You and me up here, talking, having a nice time.
She's got a big head. Oh. God. This is what boys think is romantic.
Please marry me.
This is like how Anthony Hopkins proposes in Howard's End.
Do you think you could be induced to share? I mean, is it at all probable that...
Oh, yes, I see.
That's horrible.
Why?
I couldn't marry a man I belong to. In every way.
Oh, so then we should have
I
sex.
belong to you. I just want you here. I want to be able to see you. Say you're
She
married.
kind of looks like Katharine Hepburn in these
Please.
shots.
Say yes.
Say yes, I'm in love with the world through the eyes of a girl who's still
I'm
around the morning
I'll marry as soon as you
after.
like.
This is basically an Elliott Smith album.
That's what you want, isn't it?
I hope not. I hope these are just games he's playing. Boys be playing games.
We'll stay here. We'll marry and live here. We'll start afresh and get to know each other right from the beginning.
I'm like sad at this point
We don't
how
have to see
like
any of our friends
uneven this their battle is. His tactics are so much more aggressive and effective than hers. What a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to have to do to escape from your captor. What a just like actually gross thing to have to do. I feel so bad for her because they've made so much of this about how much she is like hates her and is hates him and is disgusted by him. I hate that the way they're playing out this scene is that she wants it more than him. That like is troubling to me.
You think if I make love to you, I'll have to let you go? Is that what you think? Well, I'm not going to.
I thought you wanted me.
It's playing
I just wanted to please
a
you.
very strong
Buy what you're
manipulative
talking about in
game
London
with
anytime
her.
I like. Get dressed.
He's like actually
I used to respect you.
breaking down
But you're no
every
better than a
part
common
of her
street woman.
personality.
You do any disgusting thing to get what you want.
Oof. I actually think this movie is really smart. I was thinking that it was playing all these aspects of his personality like genuinely, but I think this is an actual. Once again, I think this is a trap that he's laying. It's a really scary kind of like psychologically effective assault, and not just like him playing on the whims of his personality, playing out like.
I'm never getting out of here alive.
Yeah, you've got it now. Oh, the fun's been ruined for him now. Now it's time to kill her. Now that she's realized it, he's fully played out the game. Hey, look, it's William Darcy. You could have given a bit more there. I'm not really sure what happened there. That would have been a cool shot if it wasn't shaking so much. I don't understand why she's horrified to see this now. Is it because she's like fallen in love with him now? Is she gone full Stockholm? They played out the like herky jerkiness of this scene really well. It all seems like natural.
Don't die, please don't die.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. I do like this. This must have been a good book. It's playing a lot on like really weird facets, weird directions personalities go under duress. I gotta read this book now. Oh, so if the heater's gone out, is she gonna freeze to death in there? Oh, what a sad ending. Oh man, what a rough way to go out. I'm sad. I mean, it's a good kind of like way to end this, that he like has played out this scenario so perfectly in his head, and to have it just by one mistake, like have it blown out, have everything collapse and be out of his control, but also not have the ending where he's caught by the cops or anything. But if they try and like cram down a scenario where he's like actually in love with her and chooses to value her health over his safety, then I'm gonna be mad. If he like actually cares for her in the end, that'll be a terrible message to send to viewers.
It's been so long. 3 days. Oh, please don't go. I was so afraid that
She's gone full no makeup. They really, really had to have Samantha Eggar's act without ego in this film.
I hurt you badly.
Don't touch me. Don't ever touch me.
This is awful, honestly, but I'm like so glad to see this kind of narrative like played out
It's been so cold.
in such an uncompromising way.
Please don't leave me alone again. Help me. Please help me.
What a beautiful shot. So much venom and bile in that shot.
Will you tell anyone?
Tell anyone?
But me, will you tell anyone?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't want to die.
She's just gonna be buried in an unmarked grave. She's just gonna be a plot in a field. Oh boy.
There's a painting I want to do. Butter yellow field. White luminous sky. Sun just rising.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So still.
We have all these dreams and desires we wish to express that our bodies haven't yet adopted the technique to express. There's so much trapped inside, waiting to get out, and to see that dream ending for her in this moment. It's so cruel, but so true to life. Now he can express his sexual desire for her. What a fucking necrophile. He's like pretending, he's like play acting this kind of grief as though he had an actual relationship with her, but he was responsible for all these things. And there's a deep feeling of power within that. I don't think he'll ever get over the feeling of power of completely being in control of another person's life. Like, maybe this is showing him like grieving and stuff, but the way I'm reading it right now is like he's hiding his erection. Like, this is like had such a potent effect for him. He'll never have an experience that can replicate this high or this intensity. Unless he does it again. Yo, genuinely, what an amazing film. This was like exactly my taste of the kind of like perhaps more honest assessment, a psychotic or a killer. John Stoll. But like, I'm supremely impressed. Who would have thought that the director of Roman Holiday and Ben-Hur would make a movie that's so good and like so modern in its approach to crafting a movie villain or a movie monster. Terence Stamp was amazing in this. What a finely tuned and fashioned horror like monster he's created. Samantha Eggers, while I didn't like her character, I understood better and better the kind of desperation and position she was put under, the psychological duress her character was enduring. It's interesting because the beginning of the movie, the first half, had such a kind of while it had the undercurrent of this being a serious and desperate and depraved movie, it kept it so light and unassuming. It gave you the impression that this would be a kind of standard studio flick, and it would have a resolution that was more in line with a movie narrative about a kidnapping or a killer, as opposed to how these stories might actually play out in real life. And so for it to take the turn towards the ending of I guess psychologically consistent and saying no, killers don't fall in love with their victim, they don't form a relationship, they brutalize and torture and break down their victims until they're nothing. And that's there's no equivalent exchange between victim and predator. This is something that's in a predator's playbook and construction, and it's a means by which they break down and reprogram their victims. And that's so dark and something that even movies these days would have trouble trying to express. So I'm glad it didn't go that route of oh, he really loved her in the end after all. No, he didn't. He has a compulsion that he's acting out, and the story of him being in love with her is a fib that he tells himself to increase his enjoyment, to increase his proximity to his victim and make it the feelings more intense and have him feel more at stake when he finally takes their lives. What a great movie. I'm so happy I did this. What a palate cleanser after Possessor. This is amazing. Check out The Collector, definitely. If you're a fan of stuff like Silence of the Lambs, or Mindhunter, or serial killer narratives that aren't about the exploitation aspect of it, that aren't about just the killings and stuff, but are about the actual psychology and methodology of the killers. Oh, Monster's another good one. Then definitely check out this. This is great. If anything, this is making me think I gotta read this book now. So yeah, that was The Collector. If you like this video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below if you have a favorite serial killer or murder movie you think I should check out. And otherwise, keep watching good movies.
I said I really can't stay.
Maybe it's cold outside.
I have to go.
Maybe it's cold outside.
I wish I knew
Your eyes are
how
like starlight
to
now.
break this spell.
Oh, take your hat, your hair looks